Hello everyone, welcome back to Solve Maths channel. And in today's episode, we'll be solving this particular question. And in this particular question, you see straight line joining each other, and then we have arrows on them. You see two arrows here, two arrows here, one arrow here, one arrow here. All these arrows has their meaning, and then they also have to do with parallel lines. So we will get into parallel lines, and after explaining everything on the parallel lines, then we'll get into the question. So parallel lines. We say parallel lines are straight lines. Parallel lines are two straight lines which do not meet and they don't end. Thus, they can be extended forward or backward. We are saying that parallel lines are two straight lines, as you can see on the board, which do not meet and they don't end. Thus, we can extend them forward or backward. So whenever you have two straight lines with an arrow on it, then it means they are parallel to each other. Good. So this brings us to the question, what is a transversal line? Whenever we have a parallel line, there should be a transversal line. And so a transversal line is a line that crosses or passes through two parallel lines. So whenever you see a line crossing parallel lines, then that particular line is a transversal line. Now, whenever a transversal line crosses parallel lines, some particular angles are formed, which are the opposite angle as the first angle, and then we have the corresponding angles. We also have alternate angles, and then the last one we have our co-interior angles. Good. So we will get into all these four types of angle, and these types of angles comes as a result of a transversal line. When the line crosses through parallel lines, we have these following angles formed. So we will start with the opposite angle as the first among the rest. So we say angles are opposite when they are directly facing each other. Angles are opposite when they are directly facing each other. And so this particular angle is directly facing this particular angle here. We could see the black arc is directly facing the blue arc, and so they are opposite to each other. And whenever angles are directly facing each other, we say they are equal angle. So if we have x here and then have y here, we would say x is equal to y. This is because opposite angles are equal. Another opposite angle we can see in the diagram is this particular angle is directly facing this particular angle. And we are saying that whenever angles are facing each other directly, then they become opposite angles. And so they become equal angles. And if we should have A here and B here, A will also be equal to B, just as x is equal to y. And so opposite angles are equal angles. They are equal angles. So, if I have 28 degrees here, and I have vein here, and the person says, find vein. And you say vein is equal to 28 degrees. Why? Because opposite angles are equal. Good, let's move on to the next type of angle when a line crosses through parallel lines. So the next one we'll be talking about is the corresponding angles. The corresponding angles. Now, when we talk of corresponding, they are similar in relationship. Now, whenever you have a transversal line crossing through parallel line, the angle formed on the parallel line at this particular point is also equal to the one formed on the parallel line. And they should all be at one side of the transversal line. Don't forget, they should all be at one side of the transversal line. So the one on top of this particular parallel line and the one on top of this particular parallel line, they are corresponding angles. And so, if I have x here and I have y here, then x is equal to y because corresponding angles are equal. Just as the way the angle beneath this particular line is also corresponding to the angle beneath this particular line. So if you see the blue arc is equal to this particular blue arc. And so this angle is corresponding to this angle. And the third corresponding angle is this particular side and this particular side. We are saying when it's fall on top of the power line and it's fall on top of the power line at one side of the transversal line, then they are what? Corresponding angles. Let's move on to alternate angle as the next one on the list. So we have our parallel line this way, our transversal line. Alternate angle, we say they take the shape of Z this way or this way. And so we are saying this particular angle is alternating to this particular angle, or this angle is alternating to this particular angle. So the alternate angles, which is alternate angles, they take the shape of Z. So this angle is alternating to this angle. So whenever a line crosses or passes through two parallel lines, then this particular angle is equal to this particular angle, and we say they are alternate angles. Good. So if you see the Z shape, you could see this particular Z shape coming from here this way to this way, and then this way to this way, and then this way to this way. So you could see with the dotted red line, you could see our Z shape. And so the angle formed in here is equal to the angle formed in here. And we are saying whenever you have it of this sort, then it is called what? Alternate angle. And the next one is also this way. This angle is also equal to this angle. The red arcs are also alternate angle. They are alternating using this particular shape. It's also this way, and then this way. You see the black dotted line. So this is also alternating to this one. Let's move on to the last one, and then we get into the question. Now, the last one is co-interior angles. Now, And we talk about interior angles. They are angles within the diagram. The angles formed in the diagram. So whenever you have angles within a diagram of this sort, this way, you could see all these two angles are within the diagram. So when they are within the diagram and they are at one side of the parallel line, then we are saying this and this are co-interior angles. They are not equal angle, but they add up to 180. They are supplementary. Good. So if I should have x here and y here, then x plus y should be equal to 180 because they are what? Co-interior angle, which add up to 180. Just as when we come to the other side of the transversal line, this particular angle with the blue arc should be also equal to this particular angle. When they are all inside the diagram and at one side of the transversal line, we say they are co-interior angles and they add up to what? 180. And so therefore, if I have A here and B here, A plus B should be equal to 180 degrees. So far we are done with the 4 angles which comes as a result of a line crossing through parallel lines. If you didn't get anything clear, you can replay back and then follow as we move on. Now, once you are through with all the 4, then it means we should be able to solve this particular question on the board. So let's get into it and see how best we can solve it. Now, this is the diagram on the board. We have 2 sets of parallel lines. You can see these 2 arrows on this line is also located here. We have 2 arrows here, 2 arrows here. We have 1 arrow here, 1 arrow here. So the 2 arrow line is parallel to this 2 arrow line. And this 1 arrow line is also parallel to this 1 arrow line. I hope you are following. And we said parallel lines, they don't end and they don't meet. Thus, they can be extended forward or backward. Now, whenever we have a situation like this, we should consider forwarding or extending any of the line, because you see, with diagrams and those, especially those with the arrows on them being parallel lines, always you should find out if you can extend any, or the question will be easily solved after you have extended any of the lines. So that is what you have to consider. So in this diagram, for instance, we are supposed to extend a certain line or a particular line. Now, if we should extend this line forward this way, it won't do us any good because we are supposed to solve for x. So if we should extend this one this way, it has nothing to do with this x. And also, if we should extend this one to this way too, it has nothing to do with the x and the 40. So the only line we can extend is to extend this particular line backward this way. So we have this blue dotted line joining this particular parallel line. And you should know that this line is parallel to this particular line. They are parallel lines. Good. And now, if I should label them, then I would have A here, B here, C here, D here, E here, and F. We have additional lines meeting here, which could be J. So you could see this line extended line BC has been extended to join line ED at J. Good. So if line BC has extended to join line ED at J, then we could realize we have the Z shape in there. Let's use the red dotted line. So you can see we have this line coming this way, going this way, and then coming this way. So we have our Z shape, which we said whenever we have a Z shape, then the angle formed within are what? Alternate angles. And so I would introduce a variable here, which is a small a here, and then I would have my a small a here should be equal to 40 degrees because alternate angles are equal. Good. So we have here to be 40 degrees. And then also, you could see this vertical line AB is parallel to line ED. And so, once AB is parallel to line ED, then BG has become the transversal line. Because we said when a line crosses or passes through parallel lines, then that particular line becomes a transversal line. Good. And so once this line passes through line AB and line ED, it becomes a parallel line. And then we have another Z shape there. So we have our black dotted line this way, A to B, and then we also have it this way to J, and then we have it joining D. You can see with the black dotted line this way, and this way. And so this particular angle here should be equal to this particular angle, giving us another alternate angles. And so I prefer labeling here Y. So Y is equal to A because alternate angles are equal. Alternate angles are equal. Good. And so therefore, Y should be equal to 40 degrees. Good. And once we have our Y being equal to 40 degrees, then we could see our angle Y and the angle X becomes supplementary because they are on a straight line. And we all know straight line angles add up to 180. And so Y plus X should be equal to 180. And we will have Y plus our X here equal to 180. This is because Y supplementary angles add up to 180 or straight line angles add up to 180. And so, but Y is equal to 40. So we have our 40 here plus our X should be equal to 180. We transpose this 40 to join this. We have our X equal to 180 less 40. Then X will be equal to 140 degrees. This is how you are supposed to go by this particular question. If this video has been helpful to you, please press the subscribe button and then share. Until next time, bye bye.